Patrzę jeszcze stąd na Kraków, na ten Kraków, w którym każdy kamień i każda cegła jest mi droga. I patrzę stąd na Polskę.
On May the 18th, 2020, we celebrate 100 years anniversary of John Paul II's birth. The entire world got to know him as a very smiling man, open to dialogue and other cultures. His heritage is being preserved and promoted by the Institute of the Intercultural Dialogue in Krakow. You can see its building right behind my back. Karol Wojtyła was born in Wadowice, but he spent most of his adult life here in Krakow. John Paul II wouldn't be John Paul II without Krakow, but also Krakow wouldn't be Krakow without John Paul II. Let me take you on a walk down this amazing friendship, Karol Wojtyła and his beloved town.
Karol Wojtyła was born in Wadowice on May the 18th, 1920. His adventure with Krakow started in 1938, when he graduated from high school with great grades and was accepted by the Jagiellonian University to study Polish language and literature. His studies were interrupted by the Second World War. During the war, Wojtyła continued with his studies in the secret university, classes in conspiracy organized by the Polish resistance. First, Polish language and literature, later, theology. Right after his ordination, Wojtyła was sent to Rome to study. He got PhD in 1948. In 1953, he defended his habilitation thesis that turned out to be the last one on Faculty of Theology of the Jagiellonian University before it was closed by the Polish Communist authorities. He never got the official professor's title, even though he worked as an academic teacher for 25 years. In 1983, he received an honorable doctorate of the Jagiellonian University. The ceremony took place in Collegium Maius, the eldest university building in Poland. After moving to Krakow from Wadowice, Karol Wojtyła and his father moved to the house that belonged to Kaczorowski family that was related to them. They were living in 2 simple rooms with a kitchen, with windows facing a garden. Couple of months after his father died in February 1941, Mieczysław Kotlarczyk, a friend from Wadowice, and his wife moved in to live with Karol. Thanks to that, they had a lot of time to discuss literature and theater. This is when the idea of conspirational rhapsodic theater was born. Today, that apartment is open for sightseeing. This is also the apartment that he used to leave each morning during the war to go to work. To avoid deportation to Germany, Wojtyła got employed at the soda factory called Solvay. From September 1940 to October 1941, he worked at the limestone quarry in Zakrzówek. He worked operating narrow-gauge railway wagons, taking the stone from the quarry to the factory. From his home to work, it was 30 minutes walking. He used to walk that distance every day. In 1990, the quarry was filled with water, creating a man-made lake, a beloved place of recreation of the residents of Krakow. Now it is used by the diving school. If you decide to give it a try, on the bottom of the lake Zakrzówek, you can find a stone plaque commemorating the fact that the future pope used to work there during the war. In 1941, Karol was moved to work at the Solvay soda factory in Borek Wałęski, where he worked at the water purifier. On his way from home to work, each day he used to walk next to the convent of the Congregation of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy. He used to stop there to pray at the chapel. This is where he heard the story of Sister Faustina Kowalska and her revelations. In 2002, as a pope, he consecrated the new shrine in Łagiewniki, a district of Krakow, that became a world center of devotion to the Divine Mercy. He made a lot of friends among the workers, and experiencing the hard work changed him. The Solvay soda factory existed until 1996. Later, its territory was used to build a shopping center. Above the shopping mall, you can still see the green hills. This is where the soda settling basins of the factory used to be. They were called the White Seas because of their color. In 2011, with initiative coming from Cardinal Stanisław Dziwisz, former personal secretary of John Paul II, the White Seas were turned into the John Paul II shrine, where the relics of the blood are being kept. Still developing campus of the shrine is also a home of John Paul II Center and the Institute of the Intercultural Dialogue of John Paul II. After Karol Wojtyła Sr. died, his son decided to become a priest. The seminary in Krakow was closed by the Nazi authorities, so in 1942, Karol became a student of a secret seminary. After the Warsaw Uprising started, in August 1944, the Nazi authorities started to terrorize the residents of Krakow. People arrested during the roundups on the streets were being deported from the city. To protect his students, Archbishop Adam Stefan Sapieha, who was the head of the Krakow diocese at the time, decided they should all move to his palace. They lived there until the end of the war. Karol Wojtyła was ordinated a priest in 1946 by Archbishop Adam Stefan Sapieha in his private chapel of the Palace of the Bishops of Krakow. The ceremony was attended only by a small group of closest friends and relatives. In 1958, Karol Wojtyła became a bishop, later the Archbishop and the Cardinal of Krakow, until he was elected to be the Pope. Running the Diocese of Krakow wasn't easy. During the communist time, it required a lot of diplomatic effort. Karol Wojtyła proved to be its master. His greatest success was the Lord's Ark, the first church that was built in Nowa Huta, the communist district of Krakow. The whole time, he used to live at the bishop's palace. He also used to visit St. Francis Church on the other side of the street quite regularly. He enjoyed praying in the back of that church. The Holy Father used to live at the bishop's palace also every time he used to visit Krakow during his pastoral visits to Poland. Above the entrance gate, you can see the famous Pope's window. John Paul II used it to meet with the young people of Krakow. When John Paul II died, and many weeks afterwards, people used to come to the square in front of the window to pray. After coming back from Rome in 1948, Karol Wojtyła worked in a few parishes. In Krakow, he lived in the parish of St. Florian. In that period, he also used to take confessions at St. Mary's Church. Until today, you can see the confessional he used to use there. As the Archbishop of Krakow, Karol Wojtyła became in charge of the Wawel Cathedral. The inauguration of his service as a bishop took place at the Wawel Cathedral on March 8, 1964. The cathedral is connected with Karol Wojtyła not only because of his time as the Archbishop of Krakow, but also because this is where he celebrated the first Mass in his life. He chose the location of that ceremony himself. He decided to do it in St. Leonard's Crypt, the eldest part of the Wawel Cathedral. On October 16, 1978, Karol Wojtyła, the Cardinal of Krakow, was elected to be the Pope and chose the name of John Paul II. His entire papacy, he used to travel a lot. He also returned to Krakow many times as a Pope. During his first pastoral visit to Poland in 1979, 2 million people gathered at Błonia, big meadow in the center of Krakow, to take part in the Holy Mass celebrated by the Pope. Błonia were the location of most of the Pope's meetings with the local Catholics. The exact place where the field altar was put on those occasions was marked with a stone in 1997. It is a piece of granite that was brought from Morskie Oko, one of the lakes in the Tatra Mountains, one of the favorite places of Karol Wojtyła. The inscription on the stone says, "You are the rock."
Tutaj w Krakowie spędziłem większość lat mojego życia, poczynając od wpisu na Uniwersytet Jagielloński w 1938 roku. Tutaj też doznałem łaski powołania kapłańskiego w trudnym okresie życia narodu w czasie okupacji niemieckiej, kiedy pracowałem jako robotnik w kamieniołomach, w fabryce chemicznej w Solwaju, w Borku Wałęskim, tak Bóg kierował.
To explore all the places connected with the future Pope in Little Poland area, see tusiezachelo.pl.